right, good afternoon. I trust that you're well from wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for keeping it TV47. It is exactly 1 minute to the top of the hour. Time to bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of news from across all the 47 counties and even beyond. But before that, a snippet of what is coming up here on TV47 News Now. Counties to receive a total of 387 billion shillings as the equitable share of revenue for the current financial year 2024-2025 after President William Ruto assented to the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill of 2024 among other bills. Government has assured Kenyans and foreign visitors of their safety during this festive period.
And in the spirit of community policing, we call upon the general public to report any crime or unscrupulous activities to the nearest police stations.
Police in Garissa have intercepted 88 bags of contraband sugar and impounded 2 Probox vehicles along the Nuno-Garissa Road.
Tuko na timu ya KEFS, KRA na hata agencies ndio tuchunguze hii sikari iliingiaje.
Right, those are just but some of the news that made it to the highlights. Now, there is so much lined up for you here on TV47 News Now. My name is Moige William. Once again, welcome to the broadcast. We start off matters festivities, whereby Raymond Omolo, the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, has this afternoon assured Kenyans and foreign visitors that everything is in order and that the government will provide their safety during this period of festivities. Let us take a listen to what Omolo said earlier on.
And in the spirit of community policing, we call upon the general public to report any crime or unscrupulous activities to the nearest police stations or through the police hotline numbers, which I'll be sharing with you shortly. Additionally, proprietors of shopping malls, entertainment joints, and event organizers are urged to liaise with the area security teams to coordinate and enhance security arrangements, as well as augment what our private security institutions and agencies have already put in place to handle large crowds effectively. For those who are traveling and also those who are doing shopping, we want to urge you to exercise caution with personal belongings, and for those who are doing this on online platforms, to be able to verify the authenticity of the platforms before making the online transactions. Kenyans are warned against being tricked into participating in unlicensed raffles or lotteries during Christmas and New Year period. The government remains committed to ensuring a safe and peaceful festive season for all of you, and we want to thank our multi-agency teams and the security personnel for their continued dedication to safeguarding our nation.
In other news, President William Ruto has signed into law 3 bills, among them the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill of 2024, aimed at enhancing county financing. The Division of Revenue Act now provides 387 billion shillings as the equitable share of revenue to counties for the 2024-2025 financial year. The allocation comes after protracted negotiations between the National Assembly and the Senate, which settled on 387 billion shillings following the rejection of an earlier proposal of 400 billion shillings. A subsequent review and that had been adjusted, or rather that saw the adjustment come to 380 billion shillings before the final agreement.
Partnership, which has been missing.
Now, as we talk about matters funding counties, In Makueni County, the Kenya National Union of Nurses has issued a 2-week strike notice decrying poor pay, work burnout, and arbitrary transfers. The chairperson of that particular organization in Makueni County, that is chapter, Morioki Murwadheka, says the main grievances raised by the over 900 members in the county are yet to be addressed, forcing them to take the industrial action.
Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. For the union makes us strong.
Well, the Seventh-day Adventist Church has called on the government to focus on implementation of policies set to tackle violence against women and girls, crime and intercommunal conflicts, among other vices, in a move to safeguarding the well-being of the young people, as Chichi Josephine now tells us.
The Adventist Church has challenged the government to put more focus on the implementation of policies set to tackle diabolical societal issues bedeviling the country.
Sheria zipo na kila kitu imewekwa in place, but wale ambao wanao implement ndio wamekuwa reluctant kidogo, na tunaomba kwamba waweze kufanya bidii ili kazi iweze kutimia vizuri.
The church called the government in what they term as it has failed in facilitating youth-led initiatives that offer important life skills training.
The government have been promising to assist our youths and to assist those who are with our youths. But majorly when it comes to facilitation, when it comes to having personnel, we find ourselves vulnerable, we find ourselves palpable, that we are not able to have such people who the government is really putting in place.
The government has also been urged to empower every Kenyan child, noting that more concentration has been given to the girl child at the expense of the boy child.
Government has really embraced the girl child. I cannot complain. Yeah, it has been given the girl child a first priority until nowadays people are complaining that boy child gender is diminishing. So I can.
Yes, they have tried their level best, but kuna vile kidogo tunaona wamegemea the girl child, so tunaomba hata sisi boy child at least wajue we are there.
At the same time, the courts have been faulted for delaying on working on gender-based violence cases before the court, despite the SGBV courts being staffed with trained officers.
Kisa kikitokea, inachukua muda mwingi kuweza kutekeleza ama kushughulikia kisa kimoja. Na unakuta kwamba kitambo basi jambo moja lishughulikiwe na haki patikane. Muda umeenda, na unajua kama vile Waingereza wanasema ya kwamba justice delayed is justice denied.
Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Thank you, Chichi, for that report. Elsewhere, Kiambu Senator Karungu Thangwa has presented himself before the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to record a statement in Nyeri County following the chaos that were witnessed in Limuru a few days ago. Led by his lawyers, or rather, his lawyers by Ndegwanjiro, say the senator was issued with summons at night.
Number two, we are also here to answer to the unceremonious summons that was issued at night through unceremonious means. But nevertheless, because we are law-abiding citizens, we have decided to come and answer to them. We call them unceremonious because the victim is being pursued as if is the aggressor. Nevertheless, that's the country in which we are now currently living in. But we are here also to dramatize that the rule of law will supersede over the rule of man.
Every single thing the president has promised, he has done the opposite. He has said he wants to unite Kenyans, but he's getting Kenyans more disgruntled and less united day by day. He says he wants to bring all communities together. He's actually segregating communities. and making sure that some communities don't get a benefit at all, of what the state should be offering to all of us. So we
have just said that we are feeling a little bit unsafe. We are now talking on WhatsApps. We cannot call each other using the normal phones because our phones are tapped, our phones are interfered with. We are fearing even when you go, like for me, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I go to buy milk, I go to buy sukuma wiki. We are fearing because we don't know what is being planned around our lives. We are targeted. And this must stop. Let me tell you, coming out strongly to support Rigathi Gachagua doesn't mean that we supported a witch, doesn't mean that we supported a criminal. Even if he was a criminal, he is our son. That is why we have come with Karongo, because he's also our son. And we cannot be intimidated and being taken to the cycles of intimidation just because we came out and supported Rigathi Gachagua.
If you imagine that you can intimidate us to measure the resolve that we have, we are extremely determined. Determined to speak for our people, determined to speak for our nation.
Police in Garissa have intercepted 88 containing 25 kgs bags of contraband sugar and impounded 2 Probox vehicles along the Nuno-Garissa Road. According to Garissa Town Sub-County Police Commander Samuel Boyd, the drivers of the impounded vehicles disappeared into the bush after a chase by the police officers who were on patrol.
Tumeita multi-agency team. Mnapoona saizi tuko na team ya KEFS, KRA na hata agencies ndio tuchunguze hii sikari iliingiaje. Nataka kushukuru wananchi kwa tukupasha habari confidential information ambayo imetusaidia kunasa hizi makari.
The Intercontinental Confederation for Chamber of Commerce has called on the government to fast-track policies and plans to facilitate ease of doing business in the country in efforts to attract investors. Speaking during a 3-day Investors Expo in a Visa Oshwal Center in Parklands here in Nairobi, Vimal Shah outlined that most of the investors have time and again turned away due to high taxation and tedious bureaucratic procedures.
Overall, we've got to change or reset our country in a way whereby we look at manufacturing and local value addition as a serious ally for us, not a serious cow that you just keep milking it, right? We've got to make it competitive. And I think the underlying word here is competitiveness of industry in Kenya. The minute we make our production and our manufacturing competitive on a global scale and relatively competitive to any of the markets, then it opens up East Africa for us, it opens up the whole of SADC, because, you know, we've signed the TFTA. It's all across SADC, COMESA and EAC. Now we'll have free trade tax-free transactions across the region. Now, if we allow a product from Egypt to come in duty-free and we tax raw materials that are for production made in Kenya, it's going to make our manufacturing uncompetitive.
We have been struggling with economic growth and stability. This is a big opportunity that when these investors are coming from Asian continent, eyeing Kenya as a destination for their products, eyeing Kenya for their destination of manufacturing, eyeing Kenya for the destination of all that they are doing, then we are telling ourselves as a country that once we put everything into order, the world is ready for us to be able to invest in these beautiful countries.
Red Cross Society has taken steps to support mothers who were previously involved in female genital mutilation in a bid to combat FGM in Bomet County. The women have been introduced to alternative income-generating activities, enabling them to leave the harmful practice behind. Jen Cheriot, the chairperson of the group based in Mosiro area of Chebalungu constituency, shared that FGM once provided them with an income only once a year. However, with the Red Cross guidance, they have transitioned to farming, which now offers them earnings every 3 months.
This is a special group, and initially they were practicing FGM within the area, and for them FGM was bringing in a lot of money, which was once a year, every December. But just to win them from that practice, we introduced farming to this group. FGM prevalence rate is high in this area, more than the national rate. So, and this is the special group that they were known in this area, in the whole of Bomet County.
Hapo mbeleni kazi yetu tulikuwa ni tunafanya mambo ya ukeketaji ya wasichana. Alafu tulikuwa tunalipwa kwa mtoto moja 5,000. Alafu sasa tunafanya tukiwa na wasiwasi. Tukisikia chief ndio huyo, ndio sasa tunaanza kukimbia kujificha kwa kichakani. Tumeanza magroup circles kwa mingi. Sasa siku hizi watoto wetu wanasoma vizuri bila hata kutoroka, tunakula chakula yetu vizuri, tunafanya kazi yetu vizuri bila wasiwasi. Pia ukulima ni mingi. Juu ile sasa tulikuwa tunapata kwa mwaka mpaka mwaka ingine. Lakini hii ni every 3 months tunapata pesa.
And now, the Kenya Society for the Blind and the Kenya National Library Services organized the World Unseen Exhibition, an event that incorporates elevated prints, audio descriptions, and soundscapes, and also Braille. The World Unseen Exhibition aims to create an accessible and immersive way for everyone, regardless of their visual ability, to experience and enjoy photography. This program, which is running for a week, showcases Canon's commitment to fostering a more inclusive society by providing innovative platforms and tools that redefine how people experience and engage with photography.
I'm delighted to announce that Kenya Society for the Blind is only one of the 2 authorized entities who are allowed by the global online library service called Bookshare to collect, distribute, manipulate, and store published content so that we can make it accessible in more than 8 accessible formats to support persons who are blind, persons who have low vision, persons who are deaf and blind, and persons who have intellectual disabilities, and also persons with physical disability who have a lot of limitation in accessing content.
Photography, of braille printing, of elevated printing, we want to make photography accessible to the people of visual impairment. Because we don't realize, but today around 2.2 billion people around the world live with vision impairment. 43 million out of these are completely blind.
We are working very hard that not only are we going to amend the law or review the law, but we will also go and do and make sure that subsidiary laws that interpret the same law, make it relevant, interpretable, and can be understood is also made available. So soon, Waweru, we are going to have you participate in what is common in Kenya today as public participation. You know how many laws that have been... So when you hear about that, please you make your comments, contribute, and so on.
ActionAid Kenya, in collaboration with the Youth Service Organization, YSO Coalition, has held its first National Youth Forum in an effort to amplify the voices of youth in Kenya and help them express themselves effectively. The goal being to encourage young people to express themselves confidently and take part in different social activities. Well, stakeholders pointing out that the young people are missing opportunities for self-development. They have called on the government to find appropriate methods to support the young people, particularly in providing them with entrepreneurial skills.
Us making noise will not lessen any burden, but us taking action and bringing all of us together to reflect and then document and forward to government will then make a difference. Today
we are speaking about funding model which has been challenged for higher education. They want to be a bit incisive and look at what that really means for them going forward. The youth are also here to come and look at the economic opportunities and the lack of employment, and most of them being underemployed. Unless they are given opportunities and the entrepreneurial space is expanded through more predictable tax regime,
end to corrupt practices, access to resources, including credit that is more predetermined. Unless those opportunities are expanded, then we are going to continue experiencing the high levels of unemployment.
This convention creates a very conducive platform for young people to be able to engage on a number of things, from the aspect of unemployment, from the aspect of the model of education, from the aspect of climate change, because right now we are faced with issues of climate change. We can be able to see floods and people losing life. And even as young people, we must be part of the conversation and see how best we can be able to contribute in terms of adaptation and mitigation of issues of climate change.
Elsewhere, musicians and members of the Music Copyright Society of Kenya, that is MCSK, from Mombasa, now calling on the current board of management chaired by Lazarus Muli to vacate office as the High Court has rendered them unconstitutional. The board that was elected in 2018 was supposed to serve for 3 years. Speaking in Mombasa, they have lamented about the low amount of royalties from the board, as they are receiving as low as 2,000 Kenya shillings. Meanwhile, it has emerged that MCSK employees have not been paid for the last 3 months.
Tunataka wale wa kitambo waweze kuheshimu vile ambavyo mikataba yote imewekwa, na tumefuatilia sheria zote ili kwamba tuwe na watu ambao wanatujali sisi kama wasanii na pesa yetu itufikie.
Mwaka juzi kuna pesa ilikuwa inatoka England, 30 million. Walikataa kutoka kwa sababu ilikuwa inakuja wakati wao wanatoka. So waliona wakitoka hiyo 30 million kutoka England, United Kingdom, wataikosa. Tumekuwa tukipiga kelele na serikali. Kwani tunaishi nchi gani? Is this Kenya ama? Hii si ni Kenya? Tuko nchi ipi? Sura ni hizi miaka yote. Press release miaka yote, sura hizi.
The old board yenye iko saa hizi tulichagua mwaka wa 2018 na walikuwa watoke pale after 3 years. Kutoka 2018 mpaka saa hizi wamekaa pale kwa miaka karibu 7, hawaja distribute pesa kwa wasanii. Mandate ya CMO ama MCSK ni collecting and distributing to the members. But hapa inakuanga vice versa. They collect and they retain the money.
Hii pesa inaenda wapi? Because as we are talking, hata wale walioajiriwa na hicho chama cha Music Copyright Society of Kenya hawajalipwa mshahara for some months now. Sasa hii pesa inaenda wapi? Kama haingii kwa mifuko ya viongozi ambao tuko nao. Na ikiwa haingii kwa mifuko ya viongozi tuko nao, waje watuambie pesa inaenda wapi.
Rais Ruto aingilie kati, sababu MCSK wenye wako huko ni mafisi, wanatafuna nyama hadi mifupa hatupati, wanatafuna kila kitu.
Unemployment cases and economic hardships amidst the escalating climatic shocks have seen hundreds of women and youth rising to the occasion by enrolling for vocational training and adult learning programs. While speaking during the graduation of 30 graduates of Ujuzi Manyatani Mobile Training Program in Laisamis Town, the Northern Regional Trust Director Dida Fayo hailed the change of mindset among women and youth in the region. Fayo says the emerging trends of women and youth embracing vocational training and adult learning programs will go a long way in bridging the gaps in restricted property ownership among the pastoralist women as they take the challenge of venturing into economic activities.
Teknolojia inaendelea kubadilika na maisha inaendelea kubadilika. Kwa hivyo hii ni mwanzo wao kushikilia na kujibadilisha kulingana na dunia ya kisasa ya teknolojia. Mpango kama hii inasaidia katika kupunguza gender based violence sana.
Iko malnutrition katika county yetu sana sana Laisamis and Northern and any other part of the county. Saa hii walipata mafunzo ambayo watakuja kubadilisha vile mlo ambayo wataenda kupea watoto wao na ama funzo ambayo wataenda kupea wale wengine ambaye katika mafamilia zao.
Such programs will support us to alleviate the menace of gender-based violence, because gender-based violence, one of the factors strongly contributing to gender-based violence is loss of livelihoods, which leads to poverty, which leads to anger and chaos in the family.